All right, here we go. So, guys, today is January 10th, 2023. The time is currently 1:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's your boy Jay and Franklin from the Franklin Crocker Show. As
Yes.
we get started with our NFL playoff predictions, the road to Super Bowl 57. We are here. We are here, ready to have some fun today. I want to get started by saying I want to give a big thanks. I want to show my appreciation to everyone that has reached out in regards to Damar. He is out of the hospital, back home to Buffalo.
Yes.
So shout out to Damar, shout out to the family, shout out to all the Bills Mafia and everyone that's contributed to his toy drive as well. We contributed here, and it was good to give back to the kids and give back to a good cause. So I'm glad that things are going much better for Damar, and I'm glad
Yeah.
that the kids will be taken care of as well from this toy drive. So we got started there. We got some crazy stuff going on, guys. Playoff implications. We're gonna start off with Saturday, January 14th. This is going to be two games on a Saturday. Seahawks, 49ers, as well as Chargers and Jaguars. Before I actually get into this, big shout out to Richard coming through with the $50 super chat. My man Richard says, as we go into the playoffs, want to thank you for the incredible job you did all season and how you make the educated in football and uneducated equally welcomed. Bills Mafia number 3. Red and blue, red and blue, red and blue, red and blue, 100. Shout out to you, Richard. Thanks for the $50. Thanks for the support, man. Much
That's dope, man.
appreciated. Shout out to the Bills Mafia, Richard. You know you're definitely one in the circle. One in the circle. Shout out to you, man. Um, much love to the Wrench Gang. Much love to the family. As we get started with these playoff predictions, we're gonna start off with Seahawks and 49ers. Seahawks and
Mm.
49ers Saturday, 4:30. Obviously, you guys know I will be streaming this game. Every playoff game up and into and including the Super Bowl. 22.5% for the Seahawks. Record is 9-8. 77.2% for San Francisco 49ers. 13 wins, 4 losses. Geno Smith. Before we get into the 49ers, I want to start with Geno Smith. Now, people have been sleeping on Seattle all year, and I don't think they've given Seattle Seahawks the credit, including myself. You guys know when I'm wrong, I take accountability. Okay? I take accountability. I don't hold back. I don't play sides. I have been sleeping on Seattle. I went back and looked at some of Geno's highlights. He's been doing the thing. He had some struggles, but he's found a way to win. Shout out to George Tucker. I know it's your team. I've been sleeping on him, man. I've been sleeping on him. 4,282 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Walker the third on the rushing side with 1,050 yards, 9 touchdowns. Metcalf still doing his thing quietly doing his thing. 1,048 yards, 6 touchdowns. Kian says, I feel dumb for rooting for TCU. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, we can get into that now. I am aggravated. I am so mad, and I am so aggravated about that game for multiple reasons. And I hate we just got to do this right now. We got to do this.
You have to. We have to talk
There
about
is no reason why teams should not be either equally or almost matched in a national championship game. If they are, there should be some kind of rule for forfeiture. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. There is no reason why we had to sit through and I had to stream 4 hours and 30 minutes of a complete destruction and domination of what could be considered a high school football team.
Dog, it's amazing. Think about it. They put up 65 points in college basketball in championship games. They don't put up 65 points sometimes. They put up 65 points in football. That's crazy.
Yes.
Dog,
Yes.
that's just, like you said, it should be some kind of, you know what, mercy rule, put up the red flag, similar to the fight this weekend with Tank. The guy had to get hit a couple of times. The dude got on the bench. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going back out there. I'm okay. I'm gonna call this one out. They should do the same thing in football.
Yeah,
We're good.
it's gotta listen. I was so because I knew Georgia was gonna win. That was my prediction. I knew Georgia was gonna win.
Of course.
The problem is I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, they score, da da da. Here we go. The game's going. I'm expecting some kind of defense. I'm expecting some kind of showdown. It was a complete and utter destruction. I'm watching McConkey. I'm watching Bowers. I'm watching Edwards. Stetson's looking like a dream quarterback out there. He's throwing dimes, 40 yards, 30 yards. It's no contest. And I'm just like, wow.
Dude, they didn't score the second, third, or fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. All right. That's a whole other conversation, but we got to get back to it. All right. So DK Metcalf, 1,048 yards, 6 touchdowns. Like I said, I've been sleeping on Seattle. Obviously, with the Lions beating the Packers, it gives Seattle the ability to get into the playoffs, and which is why they're there now. So, what is Seattle going to do? I'm going to be honest here, people. As much as I just gave Seattle their praise, these 49ers are no joke.
Stick it for
all right. These 49ers are no joke. I need to pull up the stats here for Brock. And I want to talk about Brock Purdy for a minute. And there's a couple reasons why. People have been hating on Brock Purdy, and I get it. He's a rookie. He's new. You don't think he's going to do much. It's always the new hype. I get it. I totally get it. Well, let's look at the numbers. Against the Commanders, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, QBR of 114.6. Against the Raiders, 62.9% completion percentage, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 95 on the QBR. Cardinals, J.J. Watt's retirement game, 178 yards, 3 touchdowns, 141 for a QBR, no interceptions. The man has came into the league and shown out. And yes, he does have the weapons needed to perform and excel. And we would say that we would expect this from any quarterback. But at the same time, there's a lot of quarterbacks that can't use those kind of weapons because they're not that good.
True story. And again, we talked about earlier, your prediction of the Super Bowl. How beautiful is this story with your prediction of the Hooters going to the Super Bowl with that team and then the other team? We know who the other team is. I don't have to say it yet, but we all know another team. But look at the storyline behind that. Look how beautiful that is. Because remember, it all starts with Garoppolo. Yeah. It starts with Garoppolo, being like, I don't want you anymore. You're not good enough. And the starting quarterback getting hurt. You know what, Garoppolo, here, come back to us. But we love you, man. We love you. Come back. And then he gets hurt. Now Purdy jumps in. It's like, it is a beautiful storyline, man.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful story. Some people don't like it. Some people don't like Jimmy either. That's just the reality of it. And at the end of the day, people aren't going to like what's going to happen, right?
No,
and I don't want to be like, oh, I told you so, right? I don't do this just to be right. I do it because I love the sport and I love the game, and I really like to give accurate predictions of what I think is going to happen. With that said, this is a game where the 49ers are going to absolutely destroy the Seahawks. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute destruction. McCaffrey, 746 yards, 6 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk, who I've become a fan of this man. 1,015 yards, 8 touchdowns. It's the people that you sleep on, these players that come up and they show out at certain points of the game where you realize they're going to be very powerful as the playoffs go on, up into the divisionals. So
I want to say something real fast. I don't know if I should say this name out loud, but I'm going to give somebody in the chat. Hung Meow. Love the name Hung Me Out. Love it. But he says they play some trash teams. I give him a little credit there because some of the teams you didn't name were like Cardinals, Commanders. There were some trash teams, but San Francisco does have a powerful, impactful lineup. I mean, Christian McCaffrey was probably one of the biggest pickups this year in free agency by far.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, he is amazing at what he's doing. I think he's going to have $150 in the ground.
Easy.
With a touchdown.
Easy. Immortal says you call Georgia. Yeah, I call Georgia. I call Georgia from the beginning. Everybody, you guys know I always get asked these questions at the beginning of the streams. Jay, who do you got? Jay, who do you got? Jay, who you going? Who you going for? Georgia. Like I said, I knew they were going to win. I didn't know it was going to be like that, but it is what it is. All right, so Timo says Chiefs are the king of playing the trash teams. Look at their schedule, super overrated. Same thing can be said for the Eagles, but y'all don't want to have that conversation. Y'all don't want to talk about the Eagles schedule. It's like, this is the problem with being biased. And like I said, it's fine. You can love your team. Just look at the numbers. Look at the teams they played. Look at what they've dealt with. This is where it gets real. All the talking stops now. All the speculation stops now. This is where it gets real. With that said, I'm going 49ers against the Seahawks. 49ers are favored by 9.5. Getting into the spread. Sorry, money line. Money line is minus 475. Over and under is 43. Over and under is 43 and plus 380.
Over.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. Considering that San Francisco is putting up, they're putting up over 30 points a game.
Yeah, over.
Okay,
that's easy over.
Easy over. All right. Next up, we've got Chargers and Jaguars. Now, this is an interesting one for two reasons. The Jaguars actually destroyed the Chargers 38-10 on the road. Trevor Lawrence threw for 3 touchdowns and put up 413 yards of total offense. Wild. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like the kid. I like Herbert too, but I think Trevor wants it a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
You know what I think is going to be the difference maker in this game? It's not even offense. It's defense.
Yeah.
Josh Allen. Love the name. I think Josh Allen is going to make a big difference in this game, man. I think he's going to disrupt Herbert a lot. But, again, they're dynamic in the air, man. Chargers have a great offense. Herbert loves to throw the rock, and I think he's going to – if Josh Allen can't get to Herbert fast enough, Herbert's gonna smoke.
Oh yeah. If Eckler can get some space, obviously he's gonna hit those gaps hard. Yeah. He's gonna run. Williams, he's been doing his thing too. It's the matchup between Herbert and Williams is definitely dynamic.
Yeah,
and without a doubt, it's gonna be a ball game, right? It's not gonna be a landslide. This is the playoffs. This is a difference between the regular season and the playoffs. You're gonna start to see people really show up. People go harder and play to, I want to say, their full potential. With that said, I think the Jaguars take it by.
Whoa, you do? I don't see that.
I do.
I don't think they have enough playoff experience. Remember, when's the last time the Jaguars been in playoffs? It's been a minute.
That's true.
That playoff experience is a huge difference. Like you said it before, it is different than the regular season. It's one and out. You don't win this game, you're out. It's not like basketball. It ain't a series.
No, it's just one and done. One and done.
I don't think they have enough experience right now to win it all. I think the quarterback is amazing, but again, I just think the Chargers little geared up to be a little bit better to win this. So I'm going with the Chargers. I'm going against you in this one.
Okay,
I'm going with the Chargers.
Okay. It's a 1-point spread. Vegas doesn't know.
No.
So that tells you what it's going to be a crazy game. It's going to be a crazy game. You're going to go for the Chargers. I'll go for the Jags. Like I said, I'll take the Jags by 3. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a back and forth battle, roller coaster. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Mike Williams also, he's suffering from spasms, some back spasms, but I think he'll be in the game, so he should be all right.
Yeah, I think they'll have him out there for the playoffs. He will be needed. Washington State Jags says Jag Power. Shout out to you. What's up, Selena? What's going on with the Rich Wrench gang? Shout out to all you guys out there. All right, next up,
Oh.
Dolphins and the Bills. This is going to be
Oh.
Sunday 1 p.m. game. All right, Dolphins 13.8% of the matchup predictor, 86.1% for the Bills. Dolphins are 9-8 on the season. Bills are 13-3. We obviously all know the story. Tagovailoa with 3,548 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Josh Allen, 4,283 yards, 35 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Mostert with 891 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Singletary, 819 yards, 5 touchdowns. On the receiving side of things, we have Tyreek Hill, 1,710 yards, 7 touchdowns. And Stephon Diggs with 1,429 yards, 11 touchdowns. I need to see more Gabe Davis. I'm going to need to see Cook really step it up, really show off his potential. I'm going to need to see Knox ball out a little bit harder, just a little bit harder. We have the pieces. We have the chemistry. And especially right now, we have the emotions and the energy. These are things that need to happen. And obviously, the defense, those safeties have to get it together. We cannot be getting cooked at all in the backfield.
No. And in my opinion, you said some great things, but I need to see Josh Allen really want this. Josh, I think, is a great player, but it seems like when it's crunch time, Josh sometimes folds. He'll throw that interception in the red zone, when you're about to score. Hype is all built up. I can't see Josh do that. It doesn't be perfect, but if you're going to make a mistake, don't make it in crucial times where you really need it. Make it when it's not that crucial if you're going to make a mistake. Because you're going to make mistakes. It's part of the game. I get that. But it's when you make the mistake that's the issue I have. Also, too, is I need the Bills to run the ball more.
Yes.
I'm a Bills fan. I don't want to see Josh with those design run plays. This is the playoffs. Remember, we don't get that bye week. We don't get that first bye. We don't get the bye week for the first week. So
we're
going to play a lot of games right in a row to go to the Super Bowl. Josh needs to be as healthy as he possibly can without going too destructive. I don't want him leaping. I don't want him Lambo leaping. I don't want him doing any of that. I don't want him jumping over anybody. We don't need that, Josh. Stay in the pocket. Run when you have an open field. Go out of bounds. Don't get hit. Slide if your big butt can, but don't get hit.
I would say at this point, you don't need to be flashy, Josh. You need to get the job done. You need to get the job done. You don't need to be flashy. Like I said, Cook's going to have to step it up a little bit more. Singletary, I like what Hines is doing. Hines has brought an energy to this team since that Patriots victory that I have not seen yet. I've been waiting to see what Hines would do, and I'm glad that he did that because now I'm a believer. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't a believer. I hadn't seen nothing yet. Right?
I wasn't. No.
Exactly. We hadn't seen nothing yet. So now that I've seen what Hines can do, I'm a believer, and I feel a little bit better about the Zach Moss trade. Right? I wasn't feeling good about it up until I seen the Patriots game. I still was like, why did we get rid of Moss? Why? It's just like Zay Jones. Like, why did we get a Zay Jones? Zay Jones he's amazing. Why? Why do we get rid of him? But with that said, I get it. I understand now. And I see the premise behind it, and it's starting to make sense because it's coming together.
And that game, I'm sorry. With that game also too, it changes the way now the defense has to play us on special teams because a lot of times they don't really strategize on special teams. It's like it's regular basic plays. Now they have to think of us differently on special teams now. Every team has to go and say, "Hey, what did they do? They scored twice, not once, twice now."
Yeah,
on punt return. So we got to look at the Bills a little differently in their blocking schemes. And we got to take them serious on their special teams game now. So it's going to change the game a lot now. Definitely.
Without a doubt. Bills are favored by 10.5, minus 650 on the money line. Over and under is 44.5, plus 475 on the money line for Miami. Obviously, you guys know I'm going Bills Mafia. Franklin, Bills Mafia. It just says.
But I want to give one credit to somebody else as well. Tyreek Hill. When he got traded to this team, everybody, and again, I'm a player fan. I'm a Bills fan, but I'm a player fan as well. So I'm gonna give him credit. Everybody thought that he couldn't do anything in Miami. Tua can't throw the ball farther enough. Tyreek Hill is never gonna get the rock. You said how many yards did he get? 1,700. with a quarterback like Tua, 1,700. That's crazy.
1,710 yards and 7 touchdowns.
That's crazy because
He's
nobody
got
thought that Tua can throw the ball past 20 yards. So, which means Tyreek's a lot of short catches and running his ass off, or Tua can throw the ball, which we can see he can throw the rock.
He's got 119 receptions too, so which is really wild. So if you do the math there, that's a lot of yards per catch. A lot of yards per catch.
So he did his thing down there. He was definitely the difference in Miami this year.
Yeah. So obviously, Bills Mafia. I don't see Dolphins being a true threat, especially with they're having a lot of issues right now. They're having a lot of issues as far as Tua being in concussion protocol. He's worried about his health. And the Bills are looking to dominate. So, especially at home.
And it's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold. It's gonna be like 24, 25 degrees here. Miami's not ready for that.
Yeah. And no, we're not gonna forget about Waddle. Waddle's definitely been balling as well.
True.
But right now I just feel like the Dolphins are internally defeated for a couple of reasons beyond what's going on the field. So,
and didn't Tua catch his last 2 concussions playing the Bills as well too? Didn't every time he plays the Bills, doesn't he get a concussion? So I don't think Tua wants that smoke either. Tua was like, nah, I think I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. All right. Next up, Giants Vikings. Now, Kirk Cousins. This is tough. And I know people are like, Vikings. No, we cannot just say Vikings on this because Daniel Jones and this Giants team has found a way to get into the playoffs and nobody expected it. So I would expect the unexpected in this game. Giants are 9-7-1. Vikings are 13-4. On the matchup predictor, it's 42% for the Giants, and I didn't expect that. 57.4% for the Vikings. Daniel Jones, 3,205 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's really interesting. Kirk Cousins, right? Kirk Cousins, 4,547 yards, 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. So let me ask you this. Would you rather have 29 touchdowns and 14 interceptions or 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions?
I'm 15-5. I'm going with the less interceptions because there's other ways you can still score without having your quarterback throw the touchdown. So I'm going with the least amount of turnovers, which would be the 5 interceptions.
That's going to bring me to Saquon Barkley, 1,312 yards, 10 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 1,173 yards, 8 touchdowns. So nobody's going to want to hear this, but Daniel Jones would seem like the better quarterback.
In this matchup, definitely.
In this matchup.
Yeah, in matchup. And that's another stat I just pulled up right here. Do you realize that the defense allows 138.7 yards for Minnesota? Ooh, going against Saquon Barkley. That's a lot of yards to give up.
That is a
lot of yards to
give up. That's a lot of yards to give up.
It's a lot, man.
Wow.
So I think that I'm even though the Vikings have a better record, I'm going with the Giants on this one.
It's going against the grain. It really is. Because I want to be a believer so much and Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, right? Because I feel like over the years they've always been just there, right? Just there.
But we didn't bring up something though, man. Justin Jefferson. I mean, that dude's a beast. I mean, he's an absolute. I mean, he murdered us. I mean, he's an absolute monster. Yeah. But if you can't give him the ball, then that's a problem.
And that's what I was going to talk about. If the defense is able to shut down Justin Jefferson, where's Cousins going? Right? His focus is Jefferson, right? So if Jefferson's open, it's money every time. Somebody's getting cooked. But if Jefferson is doubled and he can't get the ball, Cousins only has a couple other options. Obviously, Cook, Thielen, right? Hawkinson. But Jefferson is his go-to. So with that said, if he doesn't have Jefferson, this is where Cousins gets exposed. And I feel like the Giants will have a plan in place to stop that. And if they can figure out stopping Jefferson and putting a little damper on the run, it'll give them a chance to stay in this game and possibly win it. With that said, I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna go with you on this one, and I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm feeling like this one is going to be the upset. This will probably be the upset for the playoffs.
Yes, this is definitely the upset of the playoffs.
Yeah.
A team with, and I just hope they don't go as far as getting to the Super Bowl, the Giants, because it always pissed me off when he won 2 Super Bowl rings at 9 and 7.
Yeah.
Those 2 times they beat the Patriots. So I hope that doesn't happen again, but I definitely think this should be the upset of the week.
Yeah. I think this may be that upset because everybody's like, oh, Vikings are going to destroy the Giants, and then here you go. You cannot say Vikings are going to destroy the Giants when we seen what the Colts did. And yes, the Vikings came back against the Colts, but if you had another team that would have had the Vikings down by 33 that had a remotely different defense that was not going to let them come back, it's ball game.
Yeah,
straight ball game.
Is a lot, man. That's a lot of points to come back from to win the game, and I do give them credit for that. But they're not going to do it against the Giants, though.
And I'll prove it to you because Vegas is saying that they only expect the Vikings to win by 3. Vegas is not confident in the Vikings. Minus 165 on the money line, 48.5 is the over and under, plus 140 on the money line for the Giants. That tells me everything that I need to know about this game. Once again, it's going to be just like the Jaguars and the Chargers. It's going to be a crazy battle. It's not going to be a clear victor probably until the end.
Immortal Eagle says Vikings beat the Bills. Come on, y'all. You're right. They beat us. I give it to you. Yes. Jefferson murdered us.
Yeah. But, yeah. He actually got a record and he's got his gloves and sleeve in the Hall of Fame because of that game. Yeah, I give much respect to Justin Jefferson, but we're not going to excuse the Vikings for their mistakes and them having to come back and win games. You got to dominate in this league. And like I said, like I've been saying, people have been getting so mad at me. There has not been one team that has been dominating in the league. There's teams that have been winning, but not one team is like, yes, we know completely that this team has dominated every game. It's been shaky all throughout the league. And we're going to see that shakiness in the playoffs. I'm going to go with the Giants.
I'm Giants too. I'm going Giants. So we agree on 2 out of 3 so far.
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. Next up, Ravens Bengals.
Ooh, this is gonna be a good one.
10-7 for the Ravens, 12-4 for the Bengals. Matchup predictor 27.3 for the Ravens, 72.4% for the Bengals. Is Lamar back yet?
No, that's the problem. That's why I said it's gonna be a good one. He's not back yet. He could come back, but he said if he comes back, he's still not 100%. But he's still not back yet, technically. That's a problem for him.
Let me see if I can find something real quick.
That's going to be a big problem.
All right, so this is 4 hours ago. Late work for 110 report. Lamar Jackson told people he thinks he'll be back, but there's a twist. People who have watched Lamar Jackson not so sure he'll return against the Bengals. Ian's Rappaport said yesterday that Lamar Jackson has told people he thinks he'll be back for the Ravens wildcard playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Rappaport made that revelation on the Pat McCaffrey show. McCaffrey responded by clapping and pumping his fist, but the host may have been guilty of premature exhilaration. Other people who have watched him are not so sure. It's a toss-up. I will say this. Tyler Huntley has been surprising. I wasn't a fan. Y'all know I'm honest. I keep it real. I wasn't a fan of Tyler Huntley. I didn't think he was ready. But just miraculously, Baltimore has ended up in the playoffs here, and he's either going to have to step up or he's going to have to step aside.
I'm going to go with one of the fans here right now, man. Benji Smith, Jackson or not, Bengals win. I got to go with him in this one because Lamar Jackson's been out for 5 weeks now.
Yeah.
We all know that football preparation is different, man. 5 weeks out of the game is almost like an eternity sometimes, almost like a whole season.
Yeah, it's tough.
To get to ramp back into it in a playoff atmosphere, very difficult to do. Not too many players can do that.
No,
So even if he does come back, he may not be able to come right back right away. He's going to be rusty a little bit. He's still not going to be 100%. We know that. And Cincinnati has been balling out. Cincinnati is showing up and showing out, and I got to give it to Cincinnati either way, whether he's there or not. I think Cincinnati still wins this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I just want to look at the stats here. Jamar Chase, 1,046 yards, 9 touchdowns. Mixon with 814 yards, 7 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, 4,475 yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I give credit where it's due. Bengals have been balling. They did have those issues in the beginning of the season with the offensive line. They seem to have figured that out. That's less of an issue now. Burrow's got a little bit more time back there to make decisions. Joe Mixon has been running up the middle, killing these defenses. Hard gridiron running. Yeah, this would be one where I would be safe to say, yeah, it's going to be the majority. Majority is going to be right. We're going to go Bengals. I'm going to go Bengals.
That's fine. Yeah,
this is Bengals.
It's gonna be a tough one and Lamar Jackson's contract, that whole issue. I feel bad for him because if he doesn't play this game, what happens with his contract at this point? Ooh, that's gonna be big.
And remember, that was the big thing, right? He was winning, he was balling out, he was like, pay me my money, right? And then what happened was the injury, and now it's like, well, we don't think we need to pay you this amount of money. Look at this injury, right? True. So that's the unfortunate thing, and that's why we said last time, hey, maybe you need to take that smaller contract, get that guaranteed money, show what you're capable of, and then come back and renegotiate. Because this is the situation now. You're injured. They're not going to pay you what you want. You're going to have to get what you can get. You got to keep the steak on the table.
Yep. His thinking, or his team's thinking, was very short-termed. Wasn't thinking about the long future of this thing, and I get it. It is football. You want, but like you said, you just brought up a good point. You could have taken a smaller contract, but more money up front, guaranteed, because that's really what it's about. It's about the guaranteed money anyway.
Yeah.
And you could have, solidified yourself here for a shorter period of time, and then take your talent somewhere else afterwards. But at least you get the bag up front. And he didn't do either one, so now you may be stuck with holding no bag. I mean, he'll get the bag eventually, but it's not going to be as much as I think he thinks.
He's still the franchise, right? He's still the franchise. I mean, we know that. The thing about it is the amount of money that he wants and that his agent, who's his mom, wants, isn't going to be realistic when they go to renegotiate for the contract now because of what's happened. So he's going to have to basically say, all right, I got to take this amount of money now and potentially prove myself. If they can make it past the Bengals, which it's going to be a hard fight. It's going to be a hard fight.
Tough.
All right. So, yeah, we're going Bengals on that one. Next up, Monday Night Football. They got the GOAT, Tom Brady, and Dak Prescott. Dallas is 12-5. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is 8-9. 68.9% for Dallas on the matchup predictor, 30.8% for the Buccaneers. Tom Brady with 4,694 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Dak Prescott, 2,860 yards, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. On the rushing side, Tony Pollard with 1,007 yards, 9 touchdowns. Leonard Fournette, 668 yards, 3 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 1,359 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's been balling this year. Mike Evans has been a little slower on this year. He slowed down, actually, but he's got 1,124 yards, 6 touchdowns. As far as the spread, Dallas is favored by 2.5, minus 145 on the money line, 45.5 on the over and under, money line plus 122 for the Buccaneers. I'm going to call this what it is. I know you Dallas fans are going to be mad at me. Shout out to Jonas. Shout out to Selena. Shout out to the DC for all for life. I love all you guys. I really do. Tom Brady does not lose this game. This is playoffs. He's gonna make a showing to say I'm not done yet, especially at home in Tampa Bay. He is going to cook. And he's been watching what happened to the Cowboys in that Commanders game. He's going to be watching that tape for the next 5 days and figuring out who's weak where and picking that defense alive. You have to realize who you're dealing with. You're not dealing with a rookie quarterback. You're not dealing with a veteran who doesn't have any rings under the belt. You're dealing with the GOAT. And he is going to find a way to get that ball off where he needs to win this playoff game.
I agree with you, man. I am a Tom. I know a lot of people hate us for being Bills fan, even when Tom Brady was with the Patriots. For being a Bills fan and still liking Tom Brady, I've got criticized my whole life for it. But I respect his hustle. Now, granted, I used to play wide receiver. I would never want him to be my quarterback. Tom Brady's, man, you see the faces, man. Tom doesn't make mistakes. Even when he makes a mistake, he don't make a mistake, man. It's your fault.
He doesn't.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It's always your fault. Tom makes no mistakes. So me personally, I will hate to play on this team, but I think Tom is the best. He analyzes the game better than anybody else in the world. And like I said, you said earlier, I think he's going to pick these guys apart.
Yeah.
Their defense is a great defense. They have 2 phenomenal players on Dallas. However, we're talking about Tom Brady, man. He can read through that BS. He can see all your schemes. You know, he'll call audibles all day long because he knows you're probably your defense better than you do. So again, I give it to Tampa Bay. Go Tom Brady.
Yeah, I gotta go Tampa Bay, and I'm hoping for a great game. I really am. But if we look at what the Cowboys have done, right? They had a win against the Texans, 27-23. That's the Texans. They lost to the Jaguars 40-34. Okay. They won against Philly without Hurts 40-34. They won against Tennessee 27-13 and lost to the Commanders 26-6. On the flip side, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to the 49ers 35-7. They lost to Cincinnati 34-23. They won against Arizona 19-16 in overtime. They won against the Panthers 30-24. Lost to Atlanta 30-17. The difference is in this game, you have Dallas coming off of a severe loss to the Commanders, and you have Tom Brady who's still trying to prove himself and who still has the talent to do so.
Now, am I correct in saying this? If they would have won that game, it would have changed the outcome of the seeding, right? If the Cowboys would have won that last game against the Commanders?
Yeah, definitely.
So they kind of screwed themselves by losing that game. That was a big game. They screwed up. Yeah. I'm going with the West. Who do you think the better the running back is? You think it's Zeke or Pollard at this point?
So we always have this conversation. It always comes up in the streams. Jay, who's better? Pollard or Ezekiel? I think they're a powerhouse, dynamic, running combo. I think you use Zeke when you need that hard 2-3 yards, right? When you need to get that first down on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, you put him in for the run. If you're not comfortable going with the pass, he'll get you those yards. Tony Pollard is, he's going to get you that 10-15, break off those big runs. It's difficult to say who's better because I think they have different uses, right? It's kind of like a tool. You could have a short version of a Phillips screwdriver. You can have a long version of a Phillips screwdriver. They're both going to get the job done. You just got to figure out which one you need it for. I know that's a kind of weird analogy. Pause, but it is what it is.
You said it first. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but it is. It's kind of like you have different backs who have different characteristics, and they're used for different things. Zeke is good for the short plays. When you need him to get those, like I said, those 1 to 5 yards, he's going to get it. Pollard comes off. He's good in a slot. He can even catch the ball on the pass. So I would have to go Pollard, maybe being a little bit more for the multi-purpose tool in the chest. I would think so.
Do you think Zeke has accepted his new role? Because remember, Zeke started off to be the featured back. At one point, there was no other. I mean, you had backup running backs on Dallas, but Zeke was he was that workhorse. They're not He's not a workhorse anymore. He's not that featured back anymore. Pollard, I think gets more touches than Zeke now. Like you said, Zeke's going to get the short, big yards, but Pollard's going to break out that 10 or 15 yards. Is Zeke ready for that right now? Because That is a big thing for a feature back, a feature star to go now to the side. It's just like in basketball to go from starting 5 to now you're the 6th man off the bench.
Yeah.
I'm in my head, I'm still the man.
Well,
my body may not say so, but my mind says I am.
The big thing too is, remember, Zeke got paid all that money, right? And he doesn't have the same kind of heart and the same kind of drive that he used to have after we got that money. And that's the funny thing, right? It's all about the money, right? So at the end of the day, it's like when you look at the drive and determination, Tony is kind of like where Zeke was, right? He's got that heart, he's got that fight, that dog in him, and he's like, well, I want my money now, right? That's what's gonna happen. Either give me my money, I'm gonna go take my talent somewhere else and get the money, right? So I think that's why Tony possibly is a little bit better than Zeke as far as for what he's bringing to the table, what he's offering.
He's playing for a big check, like you said before. If he could, I mean, he's already done it through the season, but through this playoffs, if he can produce some big numbers at the end of the year, Jerry Jones has to decide, okay, do I got to either pay this guy or I got to let him go. Yeah, because he is very valuable. We can't let Zeke go because really nobody may not pick up Zeke's contract for what he's paying him right now to trade him away.
No, definitely not.
Dollar, we're not paying this guy anything nowhere near Zeke.
The last contract that Zeke got is that will be his highest contract he'll ever see in his life again.
Yeah,
that's just the reality of it. And that's not a bad thing. Hey, get the bag, get your money. You're supposed to negotiate for what you think you're worth, and if your agent can pull it off, you got a hell of an agent. It's just the reality of it. But at the end of the day,
to get that agent,
right? Lamar Jackson, figure it out, man. That's tough. CD Lamb says Tony Pollard is franchise tagged. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see. Things change. Things can change. Things can change. Club says Dolphins versus Eagles Super Bowl. All right. All right. I mean, that's really interesting, but okay. Dolphins versus Eagles in the Super Bowl.
That's not likely without a quarterback.
But this is why I said we got to remove the emotions from some of the stuff sometimes, right? You got to remove the emotions. A lot of people say a lot of emotional stuff, and then they get mad at Jay because he comes with the facts and the stats and the analytics. But it is what it is.
Well, we know, and I think what you told me earlier, I think you're right. Oh, somebody just put on there. I was just about to say it. You beat me to the punch. Bills 49ers. I think that is the best Cinderella storyline that the NFL could possibly use right now, because a lot of people did think they were maybe a little bit inconsiderate in regards to what happened with Damar. They thought they still want the game to go on. So I think this is a way for them to rewrite the narrative, and and this is a 30. And again, if this happens, and let's say the Bills win, either team actually win, but let's say the Bills win, this is a 30 for 30 moment here.
Oh yeah,
this is going to be one of those storylines that you're not going to be able to ever reproduce ever again. And I think it's good for the NFL in regards to what they did. Again, Damar's, recovery and what he's done for himself and his rooting his team on and what the team did for the first game played after his cardiac arrest. I mean, you just can't write a better storyline than that. Plus, all the Bills, the Buffalo has went through this year in Buffalo, period, not the Bills, but Buffalo itself.
Yeah. Well, and see, the bigger problem too is a lot of people don't know what Buffalo has actually endured, or they forgot about it, right? In the last year. From the mass shooting to the multiple snowstorms, there's been a lot of different things that have happened in Buffalo that people either, like I said, forgot or don't know about. And, the Damar situation has definitely brought not just the sports world together, but the world in general. A lot of people, who didn't even know about sports or care about football, poured out sympathy and gave their condolences and things like that. And we're wishing for the best and coming together. So there's a lot that's going on with this story. There's a lot that's going on emotionally as far as with the team and stuff like that. Football is a very emotional sport. People have attachments to their team. I've got an attachment to the Bills. You've got an attachment to the Bills. We've been fans for years. There's a different kind of level of, I want to say, being a fan or considering any kind of team or any kind of fan base. Bills Mafia has been, huge. We do football different. And I know it's hard to say that because everyone does football different, but we do it different. And if you know anything about the Bills Mafia, you know how we get down. It just, we're, Buffalo's a city of good neighbors. We get back, we look out for each other. And, I'm just glad that a lot of that could be highlighted in this situation, even though it was unfortunate what happened.
True. But again, it brought us together as a whole, as a country, as a world, because this story has been spread across the world in regards to what happened. And, Damar, if you watch and if you listen, if you see this later on, number 3, get
Shout
back.
out to you, Damar.
Shout out, man, and go Bills, man. Go Buffalo.
Yeah. So, guys, that's going to be it for the playoff predictions. I will be streaming, obviously, the games Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So if you have not already, make sure that you do lock it in and subscribe. Also, check out my man, the Franklin Crocker at the Franklin Crocker Show. Subscribe to his channel as well. We're getting him going. Me and him are also working on a couple other things for YouTube. Like I said, we got another channel coming where it's going to be all about life stuff, and we're going to let you guys be able to have a platform where you can talk and discuss all the stuff that we normally can't discuss during the sports streams. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. We're going to have a good time. We're always going to keep it positive. And, we're going to find a way to bring everybody together so that we can have better understanding as far as life, better understanding as far as sports, and we can all have a good time doing it.
Yes, and it's going to be amazing. The conversations are going to be very curated. We're going to allow you to come in and even, bring up some of the topics that we want to talk about. Some things that are going on in your life, we're going to talk about. We're going to have a great time doing it. We're going to be very informational, very educational, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So looking forward to it, man.
So shout out to you guys. Shout out to the Wrench Gang. Shout out to all the watchers, the subscribers. Shout out to the family. I want to thank all you guys for being here today. Shout out to Franklin for coming through. It's always fun, Franklin. Much love.
I appreciate you having me. When you do have me, I love being on here. This is probably the best 45 minutes or hour of my time with your family. So thank you for welcoming me in. I appreciate it, family. I appreciate all the Wrench games out there. Wrench. And I want to hear some of those.
Let's go. Ric Flair in the building. Let's go. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Much love. Thanks. Man. And
God bless. Good night.
Good night. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.